what you heard was a gospel song about Bitcoin. And,
with the new AI directors of music, Johan is pressing out more albums.
Some songs were made by a human, Jan Mark.
Oh, okay.
But we have a very special guest, Jeremy.
Yes.
You're from Bitcoin Cash TV?
No,
Bitcoin Podcast.
Podcast. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, well,
Bitcoin Cash TV is great as well. I love B-Chad. He's a good mate of mine. He's amazing.
I tried to get you on board, but he couldn't get off from work. And so it's you again, which doesn't harm at all, because last year we met for the first time and it was a great conversation. So with what we've been doing with most of the guests, how has the year been? And what is the outlook for the new year? That's basically a bit of the starter, Jeremy. And also, of course, for you at the end of the conversation, we do the raffle. So maybe think of a coin that you like our audience to know more about or win a bit from. And yeah, let's see where it takes us.
Which coin are we going to give away?
Bitcoin Cash. It's got to be, right?
All right.
Can't be shilling anything else, you know.
So far, nobody today gave me a coin I don't hold already. So it's just coming from the stash.
What other options did people pick?
We had the previous guest picked Near. We had Dash. We had eCash.
Yeah.
We had
no Ethereum,
and
no
Vlad,
BTC.
No Ethereum, no BTC. Vlad Kostea gave away one copy of the Bitcoin Takeover Privacy magazine. So that was
e-Gulden and
e-Gulden and Aurora coin as community coins. So $10 of each, and the magazine. It's maybe we should have left the magazine for the jackpot at the end, but we already gave it away, so it cannot be changed. It's an immutable transaction.
So write your name on the wheel if you want to win.
Yeah, we today is in the sign of, I don't know if you remember from last year, I wanted to avoid the maximalists, and that was a little bit my take on everything. This year we are asking for more information, more attention towards the freerogerver.org petition that is still happening. So that is a little starter maybe to the conversation or little intro.
So write down to win 0.02 Bitcoin Cash. I think that's about $10.
$10, about.
Then you know how often I use Bitcoin Cash, because
it comes straight off the top of the mind.
I do my shopping with Bitcoin Cash. So there's still no name on the wheel, but you have like 45 minutes or something to write your name.
All right.
You need to be on Twitch, by the way.
So Jeremy, how did you recover from the New Year's Eve party, or did you have a party?
Well, yes, I went out into the city centre and had a couple of drinks, I must admit.
Of which city? Do you mind sharing?
I'm in Spain. I'm not going to say where in Spain, but I was in Spain. And one thing that surprised me is there was, crowds around, obviously for New Year's, but Spanish people are very calm. So even in a large crowd, with people drinking and so forth, right? It was still very low key. People were very relaxed, but they have a tradition here in Spain, which is that when it's New Year's, you eat 12 grapes. So everybody has prepared, and they sell them in the supermarkets, these little clock wheel things with 12 grapes in it. And then it hits midnight and you've got to just knock down 12 grapes on each count of the chime of the clock. Yeah, I never heard of this before. So I had to just shovel down a bunch of these grapes. I like grapes actually, so it was I didn't have any problem with that, but I just thought that was a very interesting. Nobody explained to me why that has become a tradition either, but it was kind of different. Yeah. And then I had some drinks, and then I had a very slow New Year's Day on the 1st of January. I was quite wiped out. I didn't even get up until at least 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I didn't get super drunk, but I did just have a couple of beers, and we were out late. So
the years that start to count, maybe.
Yes. Well, I guess let me tell you. Yeah, this year I'm certainly feeling it a lot more than I was 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. It does get you eventually. You know, it used to be that a couple beers I wouldn't even notice. And I'm still fit as well. That's the other thing. It's not like I've become unfit or I'm not healthy. It's just the age gets you eventually.
Yeah. I was thinking, wow, we're already a quarter century in this new century, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Like, what is this century going to be known for in hindsight? It's going to be social media, I guess, would be the biggest story if you had to say on a world history perspective of what has changed the most in humanity. I mean, obviously the internet has become more prominent generally, but I'd say social media by far the most impactful point of that.
If I would respond to on a more personal level to that question, I would say the Twin Towers attack happened in the first year, 2001, and for since that narrative hasn't been broken yet. In a way, you know that I'm too young to know all about the narrative ahead of time. I always pick my 9/11 moment, but also with counting as a century, what will it be known for? I think that story is still, we still have to uncover it in some way.
If you look back to like the beginning of the 20th century, then you had the attack on a marine ship from at Cuba and they blamed the Spanish army for it. But later we know that America blew their own ship up, so they could get involved in the war. And yeah, it's a false flag operation. And back then it was a big deal, but now nobody knows it.
Oh yeah. No, that does ring a bell because I've been to Cuba, and when I was in Cuba, I was just there for a few days, and we had a sort of tour guided thing, and he talked about that incident. I remember. And he explained about, the whole history with like Castro and Che Guevara and all that. That is honestly an unbelievable story when you look into it. They literally just came over on these boats and landed on the edge and then sort of took over the whole island with guerrilla warfare. It's crazy, but
it was the end of the Spanish Empire, by the way. America took over ended the whole Spanish Empire with that one ship that blew up.
Yeah, it's amazing. History is just. But anyway, the reason that I thought of it, not only because you brought it up, but it was so interesting hearing the sort of the tour guide's explanation of what had happened. And I'm not an expert in that, so what am I going to know? It's the truth or not. But it's just very interesting because what you notice immediately is that it's completely different to what somebody else in America would tell you about whatever was going on at that time. And so it really just, you get sometimes those visceral moments of experience with history, is a very complicated thing and nobody knows all the history. People have their version of what they think happened and reality flows from that. But you can have very distorted or different opinions that might even both have some of the truth in it. And I think that's, if we come into 2024, that's, you said people were talking about the hijacking Bitcoin and the release of that. For me, that was the biggest story in crypto by far.
Yeah, for me too.
The whole year.
I agree with
that. Massive. Just massive.
Personally, I think you never know what history will become eventually. But if I put on my hat, or my Nostradamus hat, I think it's that Bitcoin or at least cryptocurrency will be a very important role. Just like the age of central bank started with the formation of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that shapes society in a way. You can see that today, and our society today has been shaped by that central banking system.
Because we got consumerism because of the central banks and all the world wars.
So
yeah, because the everything leads back to this what was it, Jekyll Bay event?
Jekyll Island, yeah.
Jekyll Island, yeah.
It's I've never figured out why the name of that is the way it is, whether it's a coincidence or not, because, there's the book Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde about the guy who is like transforming into a monster, and he has a sort of split personality, and that's the same name as that Jekyll Island.
I don't think it's correlated. Maybe coincidence with
you never know.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
All these Disney covers also have a different meaning,
Yeah. Seems too weird to be a coincidence to me, but I've never looked into it, so I don't know.
Hey, and so you've been making podcasts all year long. How many did you do? What do you have a good estimation of that?
Well, we're now up to episode 138, and I think we started the year at 102. So I think we made 36 or maybe 37 episodes. I don't do it weekly. That's one thing I know for sure, is it's not like we have a weekly show every week and we do 52. I try and target 3 per month. So I think maybe we came out perfectly on that 36 3 per month shows. I mean, they're pretty long shows. We do full like 2 hours and everything. And we try and, have a whole plan for all of that. It's not just like live streaming banter or something, which is honestly very impressive. I know you guys, other people that are doing these multi-hour streams and stuff, like there's a lot that goes into that.
We were very happy that your schedule was 15 minutes different, because we had a little snack and I had time for a beer. So
yeah. But I was very happy with that. 36
is a nice number, man. It's more about quality than quantity, of course. If you feel, you have to feel happy with the content you produce, and it goes automatic in a way. But I have been not streaming a lot last year. I don't know if I told you that, but I was crowdfunding myself to buy a house, and I managed. We got it done.
Oh, congratulations!
So I'm now in the new studio in the new location. And that cost a lot of time, though, and. It did change my mind a lot, because now all of a sudden I got a house to take care of, and before it was always a little bit fun and games, and just like you said, you start feeling that the days count, So my mind, I'm setting different priorities. Let's say it like that, and I still believe that Trump can be used as a kind of fall guy. Like, if the system ever has to crash, we will use him as a president, or that is the time frame that's going to happen. So I am prepper since 10 years, and I will just now with my own house. So I will focus on hopefully making a nice garden where I can grow my own food, that kind of things.
Yeah, well, I'm from Australia, right? And one thing that's very famous expression in Australia is they say a man's house is his castle. That's what it sounds like to me, And there's a very famous movie called The Castle, which is a comedy movie about a guy who has his house, and then some big corporation wants to put a block of flats there or something, and he doesn't want to let them, and it turns into this whole story. But that really is just I don't own a house, but you really get a sense of that then once it's like, okay, this is my physical boundary, it's like the land that you have conquered, and then you have to protect, and your point of view is going to be very focused on that once you are settled in one place, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it's also that, for example, one of many examples, but when I bought the house and you tell people about that success on Twitter, for example, which maybe you shouldn't be bragging about it, but it's my way of legitimizing and showing that there is a use case with crypto and that you can just live with it, because I've been celebrating my unbanked existence last month for 10 years, for a decade of So I always, if I have a success, I share that, and that's why I do these public things. And so I share that I bought that house, and you are so stupid. The bull market is about to start, and no, but my friend now pays for his medical bills, and it's not even about that, but it's more like if everybody thinks their life is so fine, then let me just also live a fine life, because it is nice, and just live the moment and enjoy it. And if the people start to change their thinking, if the narrative really starts changing, the history is there, and you have shown your steps. And that's also why 138 episode is has a great value, not monetary wise per se, but just more to show people what you are about. And
you can die any moment.
At any moment,
yes.
Of course.
Why would you want to be the richest crypto guy on the graveyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great saying. That's a great way of putting it. But I think it's true. It's because people, a lot of people in cryptocurrency, as we know, got so lost in that whole idea of trying to stack up more wealth and I'm going to be rich in this future. It's like they're sold this dream, which maybe it comes true or maybe it doesn't. I mean, I honestly find it very ironic that they say, well, Bitcoin has gone from $1 to $100,000, therefore it will go from 100,000 to 100 million. And you're like, that's not how anything in the world works. The past is not the future. Otherwise, you're not early. People think they're not early, but they think they're going to speculate their way into riches, and they lose track of the fact that money is about your life. There's a 0 point to money except to swap it for something else. So you have to spend it, or you should spend it on, getting a better house, going out for a nice dinner, going traveling, learning some new skills, getting some private tutors or whatever it is. And that's the actual value that you only realize at the point you actually spend the money, not at the point that you earn it. But people just get that completely backwards.
We're on the brink of a nuclear war, so good luck with your plans for Bitcoin at $1 million.
It keeps on going. We might die tomorrow. Nuclear war.
You never know what the future.
It is going to be a very exciting year in a way, I think, and that's my prediction. But I'm curious to what you maybe see happening. It doesn't even have to be about what we're talking now, like politics in a way. Maybe just for yourself or for, some goals you have set.
Yes. So last year, so I said I'm in Spain. Last year I was in the UK, right? So that's been, for me personally, my theme for 2024 was that I relocated from the UK to Spain, which has made a huge difference in my life in a number of fronts. The weather is obviously much better and I'm much happier, but also, for me, it marked a big turning point because you spend time in doing that. Firstly, you have to let go of the things that you had where you were, not only just the physical stuff, but your routines and the people that I used to see regularly and a lot of those aspects to my life. So, and I was ready for that. I wanted to do that. So it was important and I was glad to do it, but it was still a bit of a process. And then with the new place, you also get a fresh start on that in terms of fresh routines. You maybe meet a completely new, different set of people. You find yourself in a little slice of the world, and it's just so amazing to remind me how different, how many realities there are. It doesn't seem that way on a daily basis because we just go online and we see people from all around the world and we think, yeah, whatever. But just truly every different place in the world is a different stream of reality. And
they don't eat grapes everywhere,
That's right. Exactly. Just all kinds of random stuff that being in a new place teaches you. That it was like I had never have heard of that or never had any reason to know that, except that I was here now, and anywhere else that I went would teach me, different lessons. So that was for 2024. It was really a transition from one to the other. But it was deliberate because for 2025, it's now going to be the opposite, which is that my plan this year is to not be doing too many different things, not trying to shake up anything. Instead, it's going to be do more of what is already working. I don't need to, I'm just moving around here and there or trying to, I don't know, change my job or anything like that. I'm not interested. I've done plenty of that in the past and maybe in the future as well too. But for 2025, for me personally, it's going to be about expanding on the basis of what I'm already doing. Right. So like with the podcast, it's already working and I don't need to, I will change things obviously, but it's not, it's only tweaking things. It's not, you know, let's start a different show or let me give up the podcast and become a painter or anything. It's just, let's put more effort into the car that already has momentum, basically.
You are confident about your direction. You know, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. And I think we are in the right track in a way, because if you look at how crazy some of the people have gotten over the years, and how sane, well, today's guests at least, I'm wearing a clown wig. I understand that, but well, but no, I'm also, the Trump effect will have a big impact on crypto, I think, because that's apparently how it's been played ever since the elections. The prices were allowed to rise, if I can say it like that. So I'm curious to see how it will play out. If there's really going to be a strategic Bitcoin reserve, then I'm not so excited about it, but what do you think?
I don't know about that. I don't see that as being. It's a very trendy for everyone to talk about it and jump on the political bandwagon about that at the moment, and maybe it will come to pass. I'm not saying, you know, we should rule it out or anything, but I think it might be. It's kind of reminds me a lot of things like mining regulation. You know, there was every 5 years. The government starts going, we got to regulate mining and we got to figure this out, and et cetera. And they do that for about 3 to 6 months. And then they kind of get distracted with something else that's happening and they forget about it and it never happens, right? I sort of feel like that might be the same. Like right now, okay, we got to get elected. Bitcoiners are a big demographic. Crypto is in everyone's mind. A strategic reserve. We got it, you know, Trump was in there. RFK was in there. Like different people were all trying to get on that narrative. And then in 3 months' time or in 6 months' time, suddenly it'll be AI is the blah, 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 whatever. Everything will switch onto that. And then like whatever billions of dollars they needed to put into Bitcoin, it will all just have vanished in the fairy dust and they'll be onto something new. That's my thought.
There's one financial analyzer that I follow, and he is looking at the global money printing, how much money is created globally, not just the US. And he has a graphic about the price of Bitcoin, the creation of money worldwide. And so he made and he was looking at what they were going to print in the near future, what they already said that they would going to print. And then based on that, he made a graphic when the Bitcoin would go up. And until now, that was there was he predicted, you know. So if Trump was not elected, then the price would also go up.
But okay.
Yeah.
We will never know.
Bitcoin is barely. I mean, yeah, that's right. BTC is barely at the moment overperforming the what's it called? 10% yearly, right? If it's gone up about 40% in the last 4 years, and maybe it does that all at one moment rather than statically, year by year. But if BTC is barely outperforming the stock market, which it isn't, then so much of all this nonsense that we all have to read every day about, I'm going to get rich on BTC, will start to die, just because people will be like, where's my huge gains? There's not people making life-changing money. The people who've made it have made it, and now they're on to the next thing. And the people who are still sucked in, the idiots at the end of the funnel, they're just going to they're going to not do okay. They're not going to do terribly, but they're not going to be finding in 3 years that they are in their private mansion or whatever with all their BTC gains. And so that's going to do so much, I think, to help the state of discussion around cryptocurrency internally and externally as well, because suddenly everyone will be like, what are we even doing here if we're not trying to get, what's the actual point? And then they get back to the fundamentals and read up on the history and sort of slowly try and figure it out,
Especially because I personally believe in the hyperinflation of cryptos at the moment. All the new coins are being brought in circulation right now, which is a tremendous pressure down on the price. And once that ends or gets less, just like with Bitcoin, just like it does with Bitcoin, I think all of the altcoins that survive are going to outperform Bitcoin at some point in time and move towards what I call fair value, which is not all coins have a fair value. For example, with Doge, it's, with the tail emission, it's changing, but and those people who go into the coin to get that money will miss out on that great opportunity simply because they are so blinded by their hypnosis at that moment. And it's
so ironic, right? Is that I have people who write to me all the time, especially because I have the branding with Bitcoin Cash and stuff. They write to me all the time. Oh, you're in Bitcoin Cash, you're getting poor, etc. Which, I mean, firstly, it's complete speculation. They don't know my financial situation. That's the funny. But the second thing is, like, this is all the people that I would have told about Bitcoin 10 years ago. And I would have said to them, look, Bitcoin is the next thing. It's going to like skyrocket in value. Like it's this amazing technology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And at that time, they were the people who told me, you're an idiot, you don't know anything, blah, 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 blah. And then now here we are 10 years later, and I have moved the ball, and they've caught up to where I used to be. And their confidence is yet again sky high that they know exactly what's going on. And it's like, you can't explain to them because you can't even point that out to them. Their mind cannot comprehend this logic that, like, this guy knew, a lot of people knew, people who are ahead of the curve by definition are always fighting the minority. So you just get to a point in time where you're like, oh, I'm once again in that 2% or that 5% that everybody's going to be doubting. And by the time they've caught up, I'll be on to the next thing. And once you just accept that process, it's never bothers you, basically.
I wanted to maybe bring up this because now you live in Spain, so you're within the EU, from the UK, which is not anymore.
Not technically not, yes.
So I've shared this story before today, but I will repeat it with you. How crypto regulations are really stepping up or really increasing this year, or they have been increasing over the years, but there is also a new legislation in place in the EU, which is the carbon emission, CBAM is what I refer to if I talk about it. And Stripe, a couple of days ago, sent out a message that all Bitcoin transactions from EU citizens have to be traced and tracked. And my prediction, because now I remember why it triggered me. Johan said if Trump wouldn't have won, the price would have also gone up. I think a lot of this movement of the price or the increase in price will be taken away by governments because they are going to put huge carbon emission on every Bitcoin transaction that happens. If you read the news, then you know that Bitcoin isn't the most green solution for, at least in the newspaper.
That calculation is based on nonsense, but
okay, anyway. We had, for example, the Aurora coin developer.
Are they going to tax also all the gamers?
Yeah, of course. No, but
people who have
never mind the AI companies. What about them?
Yeah, but so there is also green energy involved, and I do think there is a solution that is allowed to cost a little bit of energy, if it makes life more easy. But so that is my or take on if Trump would not have won, those regulations would have more easily come to the US, and then it's more easy for them to let the price of Bitcoin go up, because everybody who uses it then is going to pay a huge amount of carbon credits for every transaction. And I don't know if Trump is going to stop that. I can see him also confiscating all the ETFs, you know. It's all possible.
The same guy who had all these COVID regulations.
Yeah, he was very proud of his project Warp Speed.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, I tend to think that the law is playing catch up. That's how it works. You know, first you have technology changes. That's kind of the driver of what's happening in society. Technology changes, and then that flows into culture, and then that flows into economics, and then it flows into politics. And then from there, it flows into law. So law is basically dragging along behind the force of everything else. The law is always trying to fill in the gaps. Like, people only start worrying in having lawsuits about things once the technology is already developed and people are using it and people have made a lot of money and everyone's talking about it. That's when the lawsuits start. So I think with this kind of carbon credits and regulation and stuff like that, that's kind of secondary to the fact that adoption is growing, and therefore all these regulations and whatever are being created. They aren't going to be enforced, really. And then when it finally comes down to getting litigated for real, it'll be like, okay, well, by this point, there's already so many people using it. It's obviously not enforceable to, you know, so then they cut it back to something that's more reasonable, basically.
Yeah. But those laws, like, you know, you have the prisoners have this chain with this used ball. How you call it in English?
A ball and chain. They just call it ball and chain.
Okay, yeah. The law is like a ball and chain for humanity. You know, they never can get forward because they always stuck on this ball and chain.
Well, maybe. I mean, I think the law is very, very valuable. Like, I studied law at university, and so I have a lot of interest in it. And so, yeah, well, either way, it's not the case that zero regulations is the optimal amount. There's got to be some amount, but the problem with it is just that there's a lot of people who don't really see the bigger picture. It's a bit true by definition. It's the same way that it's not like the idea of having police in society is 100% a terrible idea, but it is true that the people who become the police are the ones who most want to have an authoritative, violent way of enforcing things, right? So
want to have free drugs.
Exactly. So then it's the same with the law. It's like not really that the law itself is a problem or a bad idea. It's just that it's mostly the people who are drawn to that idea of controlling people and giving some rules as to who can do what, etc., who become the most influential in that field, and then that's how you get the outcome that you get. So,
by the way, you can still add your name on the spinning wheel. Just go to Twitch and then to Vrijheidradio on Twitch and type in anything in the chat.
No, it's the wrong. Let me call out the amount.
0.02.
So that people know what they will win. I will check the price now for
cash.
2 million Satoshis, right? 2 million Bitcoin Cash Satoshis.
Well, yeah, let's see. I think something like that sounds good. Yes. Okay.
And the Aurora guy is back.
Yeah, I was really, or how to say it differently, I'm not expecting, but I can't believe Bitcoin Cash is still this cheap. If you see all the updates, basically,
So I'm going to jump back in because I heard Aurora Coin mentioned a little bit ago, but I've actually been here this whole time.
We were talking about the carbon footprint of crypto, and then you are in Iceland talking with people about crypto mining from more green solutions than just burning oil. So
Yeah, I mean, if I had a spare couple of $1,000, I would buy a few 100 terahash miners, which seems to kind of match our low hash rate here recently on SHA-256. Because I've mined on mining pools over the years, and it's like, it's hardly ever profitable because there's a big, markup when you're renting equipment. And I've talked to a number of people who have workspaces that electricity is included, and also a lot of people who produce their own electricity here. And when they don't use it, they store it in a battery. But like, if the battery's full or whatever, they use it for what they need to use it for, and then they can switch it to mining. So for me, it's really just an issue of trying to find some capital or some angel miner who help me get a hold of some miners. I should have some luck from one of our team members. He's in the Netherlands, but he's a little bit of a remote access. At any rate, so that's a really interesting part of Iceland. I think it would be a great thing to be proud of. In
that way, your story makes it unique that you have that location, and this year I think will be the bull market of many coins are gonna rise this year. At least that's my prediction. No financial advice and things, but
I'm planning on it. In fact, if everything goes as planned, I will have a few extra $1,000 that I wouldn't mind investing in this mining equipment, because I'm already running a mining pool called Valhalla.is, just one L, well, two, but so yeah, everything's kind of set up there. And then also I was going to mention something about, you were mentioning that you're a lawyer, and the what was I going to say? Because I was just talking to a friend. Have you heard all the rumors about the U.S. and Trump administration seriously looking at income tax laws? And like, for one thing, I definitely heard that they were thinking about removing the requirement for American expats.
Can I tell you something? They started that story only 2 weeks before the elections happened. And about 2 weeks prior to that, I started to write income. My new stream is called "Income Tax is Slavery." Is the subtitle of my stream, and that started in September. And now Trump is talking about exiting, and I believe the "income tax is slavery" quote can be so triggering to people that we could start a discussion with that quote. I know.
No, it's almost 100. It's pretty much 100% verified that it's voluntary in the United States.
Of course, in the Netherlands, it's also completely voluntary to
only capital gains, which is like because you actually made money. You didn't exchange your time for a
But
paycheck.
You kind of also have to accept the consequence of not paying that income tax, because there is.
Yeah, I heard somebody recently, they were saying, like, you know what your income tax goes for? Or do you know why you pay income tax? So you don't go to jail. That's basically it. It's not because they need the money, right? So it's really funny because, like my friend who, he jumps into some rabbit holes like I do, but, have some level of like, discernment. We've heard a lot about Trump thinking about abolishing the income tax. I mean, it would be so genius. Everybody would have an extra $2,000-3,000 a month of disposable income, and who knows what's in the cards, right?
I am personally very curious to hear Aaron's take on this after we spin the wheel and announce once more the freerogernow.org website to the followers.
Because go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we will play a little music that Johan created with AI this morning, Johan, or yesterday.
No, before the show, but first we go.
And we can do a little introduction with each other, so we have the direction for the next hour, and we give ourselves a 4-minute moment for that.
And first I have to do something else.
You spin the wheel to the... No.
Just a moment. I have to... I went offline on the Facebook stream. So I have to get
Facebook
there.
stream, Johan. Why don't you have an X premium yet?
We had 2 viewers there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of talk about loans and usury lately. In the last week in the news, there's been some talk about like whether a special class is able to get 0% interest loans because it's against their, but like it's like when you get a house loan and like, okay, the house doesn't belong to the bank or whatever, but then it's put up for collateral and then they create the money, they give it to you, and then you have to pay them back for interest. And people are like waking up to the fact, like in the future, if you if you don't make your payments, the bank can't prove that they're at a loss because it wasn't their house. They've only been paid. So there's something kind of going on with this, but like, it's funny because we're in a maritime law legal system as well, right? And I'll just like, cut to the chase, like as a ardent believer in the gospel, there's authority that supersedes these maritime courts and these, you may have to,
So my solution to that would be to just declare yourself an alien and say, I'm sorry, Mr. Judge, but I only give my, defend myself on the court of interstellar galactics.
Okay, it's pretty much the same thing that I'm getting at, just to, exactly. I'm like, I answer to a higher authority. You don't have, of course, you have to be careful about what you say. Probably want to keep your mouth shut the whole time. But the thing is that we have to embrace, we have to use our authority that we have as caring, intelligent, loving, enthusiastic, creative humans as we, tackle this opportunity that has come along that we can now monetize data streams cryptographically.
I agree with you 100%. It's just that the majority of people haven't figured it out yet.
Exactly, but that's why I brought this all up, because I heard just today my friend was talking about that, and I would like to hear that your legal thoughts on that, because again, for me, it's like they're not going to be able to get my private key or my passphrase. I don't think. Maybe I would give it to them, but like they can't take anything from me. So how many people will have to be a little tiny martyr before things change? And I'm not talking about a big, I mean, it's ridiculous, the things that we're seeing and what's happening to people, but like there's been an awakening about there's something going on.
We are doing it, everybody.
Yeah,
it's happening. I feel it also. I think it is.
And like I said, I think we have to claim our authority.
Johan, how is your wheel going?
I can just spin the wheel. Yeah, Facebook is not working. I have no idea why, but
it's okay. Probably because we've been going for over 6 hours by now, so we've been just cut out.
Well, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and now you're too late.
Oh yeah, let me check this wheel. 0.02 Bitcoin Cash.
Going to be Swift 01.
Let me check.
Yeah, Aurora Coin is the winner.
Aurora Coin. All right. Congrats, Mikael.
Yes.
Congratulations.
First win of the day. I only participated for the copy of the Bitcoin Takeover podcast Privacy Magazine, which I unfortunately didn't win.
There's a free copy.
What is that? Is it a subscription, or do you get like a hard copy?
No, you get a hard copy, and he's gonna sign it. Vlad says he's gonna sign it for you also. So
the site looks really nice. So yeah.
Let's do a little song, Johan, and then when we come back, we got Aaron R. Day, who is already here. Aaron, congratulations. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
All right. I'm looking forward to our chat, and can we do that, Johan? Little song.
We're going to a little musical intermezzo to remind everybody that Roger Ver. You can sign the petition.
Sign the petition.
A man with a vision, a spark in his eye. They caged his ideals, let the truth die. In the name of order, they tore it apart. Now freedom lies bleeding, a hole in its heart. Whispered lies through the corridors creep, while the dreamers of liberty weep. Oh, sign your name, Free Raja now. Don't let the fire flicker out somehow with Free Raga now. Or raise your voice, take a vow for justice, for truth, Free Raja now. His light, the power it held, a coin for the people, a story to tell. But the mighty conspired, their motives concealed behind walls of control. The truth was revealed. Oh, they speak of laws, they speak of grace, but their chains are wrapped tight in disgrace. Oh, sign your name, Free Raja now. Don't let the fire flicker out somehow with Free Raga now. Or raise your voice, take a vow for justice, for truth, Free Raja now. In the gray of their towers, the cries are unheard, but a movement is growing in every word. For a dream that was hijacked, for a fight to be won, the battle for freedom has only begun. Sign your name, Free Raja now. Don't let the fire flicker out somehow with Free Raga now. Or raise your voice, take a vow for justice, for truth, Free Raja now. And when the chains are broken and liberty stands, we'll remember the dream he held in his hands. A man with a vision, a spark in his eye. Free Raja now, let the fire never die.